Hello, this is Tiana Camacho, and you're listening to Nerd Network News.
Welcome in, Dark Hearts. I'm Wolfie.
And Mooney. And this is your Nerd Network Interviews.
And today we have a very special guest joining us. Tiana, would you like to introduce yourself and your works?
Hi, my name is Tiana Camacho, and I voice Bee and Nessa in Pokemon, Ermes Costello in Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean. I am the voice of Ikora Rei in Destiny Rising, which is a prequel to the first Destiny, and a bunch of really, really cool characters. Also, Frenzy in Transformers EarthSpark. Keep voicing gender-bent versions of characters that were originally male. It's kind of funny, and that's kind of it. I mean, there's more. It's on my IMDb, and I don't want to Google myself in front of you guys. I feel like we're doing an interview, so that's kind of rude. Sorry.
Oh, that is absolutely fair. And gosh, the body of work is incredible.
Thank you.
What is it like having such a wide range of characters, distinguishing the voice in between?
Well, I went to college for acting, and in order for me to graduate, I had to take Linklater voice for a semester. I took it for a whole year because I really wanted to round out what my resonances could do. So people tend to think of the voice as just the vocal folds. It's not true. The voice is also your bone density, how thick your bones are, because your sound, your resonators, the vibration from your vocal folds has to travel through those bones. So that's why I'm able to maybe sound like this, but then I can go and sound like this. It's because I'm using a thinner part of the facial bones in my face in order to create a different kind of vibration and thus a different kind of sound. It's kind of like when you look at a violin and some of the strings are thinner or thicker than others, producing different notes. It's kind of like you take that string principle and you apply it to the human face, and you're able to create really new and interesting sounds from that. There's also the inclusion of the chest voice. You can use your teeth to create sounds, your cheeks to create sounds, and the range is whatever your body can do, whatever you feel comfortable experimenting in, and the world is basically your oyster at that point. I live a very normal, boring life, and that's it. Like, I just go home, I wake up to my boyfriend, I probably make us breakfast, we walk the puppy, I do my jobs, and then I go home. You know, it's not this whole, like, I live in a big house in my name. I'm very millennial. I don't have that. So, yeah, I'm just having fun, living and exploring my art, and, you know, whatever happens, happens, and whatever comes, and you kind of just have to be grateful for whatever you have. And I think that's the key. We get so stuck in this idea of celebrity just because you have a large body of work means you should be treated a certain way. But pedestals can be just as dehumanizing as not being on them. And that's something that, you know, I feel does need to be imparted, especially to this up-and-coming generation of voice actors, you know.
That is a really good point. There's something that you would like our listeners to take away from that. What is a specific thing you'd like them to keep in mind when they might be putting someone on that pedestal?
Don't do that, because then they're going to do something on Twitter that will inevitably disappoint you. Like, I don't know how to say it. Eventually, you will be disappointed when you learn that the people that you think are otherworldly or just completely different from you are real people. The only celebrity I think I come close to celebrity worshiping, as in I follow all their Insta and all their stuff kind of obsessively, is Cardi B. And the reason why is because I can tell Cardi B is just being herself, and I find that ridiculously refreshing. She reminds me of a bunch of girls I went to high school with, and I'm just like, oh, finally, a breath of fresh air. She's not afraid to say stuff. But she does so with compassion and whatnot. But even so, that's like, she's still a person. I'm not gonna expect perfection from anybody. So you shouldn't expect it from your heroes. You know, you can look up to someone and love their work and really admire their craft, but at the end of the day, realize they are in fact just a person. And, you know, though you can hold those conflicting ideas at the same time. In fact, I think you should. It's very healthy.
Absolutely. In your works, you've played many heroic characters. what are some heroic traits? What are something that you find in your work makes that character the hero, someone to look up to?
Their ability to do what they feel is right, but always work from a place of compassion. And because I play a character in Moonrise, which is this anime with gorgeous designs. I believe it's the same character designer as the wonderful mangaka who drew Full Metal Alchemist. And I play Dr. Salamandra, who is one of the leaders of the Moon Rebels. And she's ultimately framed as a villain because of, her stuff. And she does represent an opposing side to the hero of the story, the protagonist. But what I find so interesting in anime in particular is this tendency to humanize the villain. And then over time, we kind of see the layers start to peel back. And you kind of start to see what life is like on the moon for the people that live on the moon. Because it's kind of like, it's definitely a space opera. And you have people who live on Earth, and then you have people who live on the moon as a colony. And the people who live on the moon kind of really get a raw deal. They're not better off, They're usually living in poverty, and all the stuff from Earth that Earth doesn't want ends up over there. So they are oppressed people. So she is thinking from a place of, my people are being oppressed, and we are needing to fight for our right to self-determination. And that is, the whole core of that character. And we are trained to think of her as the villain, but is she really? I think with anime, there's a lot of gray areas. You could take someone like Ermes Costello, for instance, that I do voice, and I absolutely consider her a hero. She's very compassionate, she's ridiculously resourceful, very street smart, and I love everything she does. But ultimately, she is on a quest for revenge, and in some people's eyes, that might make her a little icky. I think it all comes down to, for me, if we are framing these characters as the hero, are they at the very least coming from a place of compassion for the people around them versus not? And I think that makes the ambiguity kind of melt away a little bit more.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess whether a character is a hero or a villain in the story, they always kind of see themselves as a hero, no matter what tactics they're using.
Yeah, it's always a means to an end.
I mean, we've certainly seen some very villainous heroes in other shows as well. You know what, that brings up a good one. What is your favorite character alignment to play?
Chaotic neutral, because I know that character is going to anger a lot of people, because it's fun. I made people feel things and I can just go home. I like the chaotic good alignment in playing actual D&D, which I do play, and I usually play chaotic good when I play D&D. But in terms of characters, I like it when my characters are a little morally gray, because then it makes them more unpredictable, and then it makes the viewer want to watch it more. And then they're essentially like, oh man, I wonder what they're going to do now. And I think that does kind of lead to moments where you end up getting surprised when you think you have them all figured out, and then you basically pull the rug out from under the viewer. You're like, nope, not really. So that's probably my favorite alignment to play, because it subverts expectation every time.
Yes, that sounds so fun.
Yeah.
Another follow-up D&D question.
Mm-hmm.
What is your character like? What is their race and their...
Yeah, class. So I was doing a campaign, and it was seafaring, and she was a Circle of Stars druid who was also a changeling, and we worked that into the story and had a lot of fun with it. She had a preferred form, but it wasn't because she was ashamed of being a changeling, and it was kind of like an open secret where she was from. She just kind of wanted to fit in with the people around her a little bit more. But she's really cool. So basically, she commits grand theft boat to get revenge on her ex, who is a College of Whispers bard, meaning that she didn't see the red flags, and probably about 60% of this is her fault. But she's in her early 20s, so she doesn't get that yet. She doesn't understand that yet. But she's still really mad, because she caught him cheating on her with her 8 times, which means that she just kept putting her hand on the stove and complaining that it's hot. So this is more her fault now at this point. And she has all these feelings, and they're really complex, and she's really angry. So what happens at that point? Well, she finds this other person that he cheated on her with, finds her dad's boat, which is not meant for sea travel. It's not meant for sea travel, like, at all. It's kind of like a little dinghy. She's like, let's go get revenge on this guy. And they find out where he's doing his thesis performance, and they assault him and break his fingers so he can't play. But then she gets accosted by the cops and arrested. And then they're basically like, stop right there, you're under arrest for aggravated assault.
Did you break 8 of his fingers for each instant?
I think so, probably. I wasn't keeping track. But yeah, so then some stuff happens. And then it's like, oh, crap. Now it's either save the world or go to jail. So now she's got to go to jail. Or save the world. So she chooses to save the world, and that's the campaign. And they were trying to get, like, all of these, like, items. They were all parts of a specific creature together to kind of, like, get rid of the imminent threat that was about to happen. That ended not too long ago, about a year or so ago. It kind of got to a point where it needed to end. But I really loved her because she had a lot of really complex character development. She ended up dying, getting revivified, losing a limb in the process of getting revivified. And what we ended up doing was she got a sapling grafted onto her arm that took the shape of a human arm. Because she's a changeling, she can basically shape it into whatever she wants. But unless she shape changed, it just looks like a tree arm. And eventually what happened was I found bugs and I made friends with a bunch of bugs and they all live in my arm now. And they're really nice and I have a whole ecosystem living in there now. And they're really friendly and they see me as their god.
Are they attack bugs?
Yes!
Oh my gosh, that is terrifying.
They were components for Insect Swarm, yes.
Talk about pulling the rug out from under your enemies.
And my DM let me get away with it. It was awesome. He was just like, wait, so you're basically creating spell components for Insect Swarm? And I was like, yes. And he's like, I like it. I'm going to allow it. That's hilarious. So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Anything other than, I think it's Fairy Fire. What is going to get all those insects right? That is just such an OP move right there. I love it.
I talk to them and everything. They're my friends. They're bugs.
Oh my gosh, next time you run into your Bard X, he's going to have some more issues with broken finger.
Yeah, he eventually went back to the island that we're all from, and we bumped into him, and he's like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, I'm sure you are, idiot. God. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Would you say D&D kind of helps you practice or is like complementary to the voice acting?
No, because I don't want to think of my job while I'm playing. But I will say for some people it does. I know Paul St. Peter plays D&D, and he did tell me that he will essentially kind of create characters for D&D that end up becoming incubators for characters that he voices. And the Nine-Tailed Fox in Naruto is actually an example of that. So Paul St. Peter, unbelievably based, apparently. He played D&D first edition, and he reaches out to me. He's like, hey, I noticed you're saying you're playing D&D. It's been forever since I've played. Let me know if there's room in the campaign for one more, because I really want to play it. And I was like, okay. He's a big sweetie. Yeah, he's very sweet, and he catches my improv performances when I'm performing improv. He'll go, and he knows I like Digimon a lot, and so he'll do the Wormmon voice out of nowhere on occasion. And I'm like, Paul, oh my god.
Tell us about your improv performance.
Sure. So I'm part of an improv team. I'm currently on hiatus right now due to cons and health issues, but we're working it out. And it's called Community Bathtub. And we meet once a week to rehearse. It's usually on a Sunday. So when cons are busy, I kind of can't perform for them. And it kind of is something I can't really commit to. But when I'm off season for cons, I'll show up, I'll practice, and we'll do shows around the Los Angeles greater area. And we'll have a great time usually. I remember the last big performance I did, I had a lot of fun. But we do short form. We don't do long form like the ASCAT where it's UCB. It's very much like we are doing short form comedy games that are easy to just pack a bunch of games into one set, and it all tends to work out that way.
Speaking of improv, since we're here at Fusion, did you get a chance to check out the Blackout Improv show?
I really wanted to, but I was so tired. I did meet them though.
Yeah?
They were like by my table, and I had like all these red vines. My handler's over there. He's waving. And then like he brought like a bunch of red vines, and we had some left, and I was like, God, what am I gonna do with all these red vines? Jeez. So I went over to them. I was like, hey, we got red vines. You want some red vines? And they were about it. And they were like, ooh, you got a Prince shirt on. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in Minneapolis. Of course I got a Prince shirt on. There we go. You gotta guide me to the purple rain. Like, there, that's it. I'm having the gold experience, baby. I'm at Anime Fusion. So, you know, we were having a good time. We were just kikiing and, you know, just having a chuckle. And they're like, wait a minute. Oh, you're Tiana. Oh, can we get a picture? And I was like, yeah, okay. So they were really cool. But yeah, you know, it was unfortunate. I couldn't stay up. The jet lag is just eating me alive. Because when I come here, when I do an event at 10 in the morning, we're in Central? We're in Central time, so I am used to it being 2 hours behind. So 10, 9, it's 8 a.m. right now for me on my body clock. So I had to sleep a little bit extra because I knew I had this in the morning. But they were really cool. They were nice. I hope I get to see him again before it leaves and we're all done. But yeah, it was cool stuff.
Talking about Anime Fusion, unfortunately, this might be their last year, but we're hoping for 2027. Mm-hmm. How does Anime Fusion stack up against the other cons you've done?
It feels very warm and cozy and intimate, and I really like that. Big shows are great because if you're at your table at a big show, you stand to make quite a chunk of change, but at the same time, it's not always about that. And sometimes I just want to commit some shenanigans and do things. And I'm like that. It gives me more time to explore also the city around the con, which I don't often do when I do conventions. It's very much like I am in my hotel, I am sleeping off my jet lag, there is nothing else. I cannot do anything else. And, you know, I got to go to the club a couple nights ago, and then I went to a diner, and it was a fun diner. It was very Hollywood Regency. I'm about it. And then I go to this diner and go home or go to the hotel room. And I might go to Mall of America today. We'll see. Just to check it out.
It's so fun if you haven't been yet.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love this city for real. I really do.
Yes.
And I gotta try walleye. I haven't had walleye yet. I had to ask someone what that was.
It's so good. Highly recommend. So then with your wide body of work, which 2 or maybe even 3 characters do you think would have the most interesting conversation with each other?
Lily from Street Fighter 6 and Ermes Costello would have a very interesting conversation because Ermes is highly inappropriate and Lily is just like, I just want to see the world and do photography and photograph birds of prey. And then you have Ermes and she's like, I'm in prison. And it's just like... I don't know. I just think they would have a really interesting conversation, and they have stuff in common, but it's also like they're wildly different as people, and I think that would be kind of hilarious to explore. Yeah.
Absolutely. Looking at the video game works in particular, as you just brought one up, what are some of your favorite things about voicing games, or some of the favorite games you've done voice work for?
Definitely Starfield. Starfield was like 2 years of my life, and probably some of the most fun I've had working. It was a lot of fun. So Starfield was like 2-3 years of my life, and I loved working on it. And I voice a lot of characters in Starfield. And one of them in particular, I put a lot of myself into, and that was definitely Sophia Grace. And she is my baby. She is baby. She is a gang member, but people were recruiting her to their team thinking like, oh, sweet, she's a badass gangbanger and she's just really like, she's going to like put people in the ground. No, she's basically like Dora the Explorer, and you've given her a second chance at life, and it's really wholesome. And I have peeped, there is a subreddit. I've been on the subreddit, and apparently she is one of the most beloved companions in Starfield that are not the main team of Constellation. And one of them, I read a comment and it was really sweet. And they were like, you know, I feel like having her on my team gave me a new perspective about life or something like that. And I'm like, that's what I want my performance to do. But I also have a game that recently came out, and that would be Destiny Rising. I am the voice of Ikora Rey in Destiny Rising, which is a mobile game. It is a gacha game that is a prequel to the first Destiny. I want to make things perfectly clear. I am not replacing Mara Juno. She's still on mainline Destiny. This is a prequel to the first game, so they wanted a slightly younger sounding voice print for her. So I don't know if you've ever seen a pup named Scooby-Doo, but it's like that, but Destiny. She's not much younger, but they wanted someone that could conceivably play a little, you know, with a little bit of lighter timbre to her, but still could kind of be a little bit deep when she needed to be. So, you know, there is that. And that is out. I highly recommend that people play it. It's a lot of fun. Being Ikora is a lot of fun. I also play Bazinet, and I play another character called Elathi, and I won't spoil anything about Elathi. You should play through that route to figure out what she's about. It rhymes. I did it. I did a rhyme. But yeah, so play that. That's great. And Cookie Run has a trading card game now. So if you want me to sign your trading cards at cons, bring your trading cards for Cookie Run at cons. Braveverse is now in North America, baby!
Absolutely. All right, our last question is a fun one. We already know D&D's on the list. What are your favorite nerdy hobbies and passions?
Oh my god. Well, I like watching video essays about media I've never watched instead of the media that the video essays are about.
Kind of like, is that like Cartoon Universe or some of those that like dissect the preview for a show?
I was like, oh man, an episode of As Told by Ginger I haven't seen in 20 years? Let me go watch this! I can't wait to see what analysis they have about this show I used to watch. Oh boy, I'm never watching this show again.
That is so perfectly nerdy, though.
I also like doing pranks, and I am quite the prankster. Depending on the convention, sometimes I pull them at cons, sometimes I don't. It all depends on how I feel at the time and how tired I am. So I like to pull pranks. I also like to assign all nicknames to my Pokemon that are based heavily in mythology and stuff. I'm about it.
What is your go-to prank?
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that on the podcast. I don't know who might be listening to that, because I think I pranked someone and they didn't know it was me, and I don't want to confirm it was me. I kind of just want to let them live cluelessly and wonder who that was. So I'm not going to spoil the surprise. I'm under NDA for this prank. I can't say anything. There we go.
That reminds me, any upcoming works you'd like the fans to know about?
Play Destiny Rising. Enjoy Ikora Rey's story. She was a lot of fun to voice. And anything else that's upcoming, I can't really say, because I'm under NDA. Sorry.
NDAs are fun.
Where can your fans find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky. You can find me on Twitter. I'll be on Twitter.
Not X.
Yeah, that's right. I tweet too much. And Instagram, just look me up. Look my first and last name up on Instagram. If you go through my stories, I will occasionally post the odd dank meme. And sometimes it will be like that. And I will post stuff to my Insta stories and you will see it. But most of my con announcements I do on Instagram. And then I post about the cons I'm at, or hype up the cons I'm going to on Twitter and Blue Sky. But if you want up-to-date con announcements, I think Instagram's kind of your best bet, because I'll usually just post an Instagram story and forget about it. So go follow my Instagram, if anything, and watch the stories on there, because you will find some things. You will have at least a giggle by the time you're done. I hope. God. Because if you're not, that's kind of embarrassing. Like,
yes. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today, Tiana.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. It's going to be really cool.